Well, New Mexico's hospitals are now redoubling their work just in case Ebola was to ever come here.
That's right. This comes after a nurse in Dallas became infected with the virus at one of the most prepared hospitals in the nation. New Mexico hospitals are just now figuring out protocol for the rare but deadly virus. Yesterday, the CDC sent a warning to hospitals all across the nation.
We have to rethink the way we address Ebola infection control because even a single infection is unacceptable.
Also yesterday at Christus St. Vincent, there was a short-lived Ebola scare. Paramedics drove a patient to the Santa Fe hospital, called ahead, alerting the hospital that the patient might have Ebola. That patient was placed in isolation until the Department of Health determined that the patient did not have Ebola symptoms and never had any contact with anyone who may have had the virus. The mayor is trying to reassure folks through Twitter, saying that the patient's medical emergency was just a stroke. Many major airports are already screening passengers for Ebola, but Albuquerque Sunport says it does not have any plans to do the same. Sunport officials tell us they have discussed the issue with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Red Cross. They say because Albuquerque does not have direct flights from countries with the deadly virus, there is no need for the extra screenings. They say those coming from West Africa will most likely travel through one of the 5 major airports where the additional screenings will take place.
So it's another layer of protection which will lower even further the possibility of an Ebola-infected individual getting into this country. It won't make it zero, but it will provide substantial greater protection to people in America.
Ebola screenings at the major U.S. airports involve public health workers using a no-touch thermometer to take the temperatures of travelers coming from West Africa.
A father in Albuquerque is worried about his children who are in West Africa. He's part of the West African community here that is all coming together now because of the Ebola outbreak.
African people live in New Mexico. Friend in Albuquerque, we have a gathering, so we've been like talking with other people in West Africa, so we can give some idea and pray for people sick for Ebola.
Mr. Kobiani there says he's helping to raise money for people in his home country. He says he will not be traveling back to West Africa anytime soon because of the Ebola outbreak. Well, new details this morning on the Ebola outbreak here in the U.S. The UN worker being treated for Ebola at a hospital in Germany unfortunately has died. This comes as the president is now urging his security and health advisors to use the lessons learned from the Ebola case in Texas to fight the virus in a more active way.
Meanwhile, health officials are treating the Dallas nurse with plasma or blood of Dr. Kent Brandley. If you recall, he's the American doctor who recovered from the disease about a month ago. 26-year-old Nina Pham is the first person to contract the virus inside the U.S. while caring for Ebola patient Thomas Eric Duncan. He died last week of Ebola. Now, health officials are now questioning if at some point protocol was breached, which resulted in the nurse contracting the virus.
The enemy here is a virus, Ebola. It's not a person, it's not a country, it's not a place, it's not a hospital, it's a virus.
So far, more than 4,000 people in Africa have died from the disease. Pham remains in stable condition. About 70 hospital staff members in Dallas helped to treat Thomas Duncan. Today, they are all being monitored closely. And we will continue to bring you the very latest on the Ebola outbreak. Stay with News 13, both on air and online. You can also go to our website, KRQE.com, for more information.
Our 6:05, some good news this morning. Free flu shot clinics are back at UNM Hospital now that it has a steady supply of the vaccinations. Earlier this month, the hospital canceled the clinics. It had not gotten shipments of the vaccine because of some manufacturing problems. Flu season usually gets going in December, so you still have plenty of time to get vaccinated. We've now discovered that administrators with New Mexico's Veterans Administration healthcare system still got big bonuses despite delayed care for veterans. The AP reports that 5 executives earned more than $24,000 in bonuses last year, including the director, who got more than $8,700. Nearly 100 other workers, from emergency room doctors to surgeons, shared more than $2.4 million in performance pay last year. VA is still in the middle of a massive investigation into its healthcare system because of supposed secret waiting lists and altered patient wait times to make them appear shorter than they really were. Many vets say they waited more than a month to see a doctor for urgent issues.
Hunters in Colorado are being asked to look out for items that might have belonged to a boy who went missing almost 2 years ago. The body of 13-year-old Dylan Redwine was found last year near Vallecito Lake, which is close to Durango. Those close to the boy have created a list of his items that were never found. Redwine disappeared while visiting his father around Thanksgiving in 2012. Dylan's backpack, cell phone, and a cap were never recovered. Some of Dylan's family says now that hunting season has started, they're hoping that hunters may run across the boy's belongings. To this day, detectives have not named a suspect. They continue to investigate the case on a daily basis. Albuquerque police need your help finding this woman right here. She has Alzheimer's. 76-year-old Myrna Lee Moorman was last seen around 8:30 Sunday night near her home in Four Hills, where she vanished during a walk. Her husband says he attempted to go with her, but he fell behind. He told officers he looked for her by car, but she was gone. Moorman was wearing a blue hat, red and pink jacket, jeans, and black shoes with pink laces.
And here's some more good news. Albuquerque is getting a new Godfather's Pizza. It'll be the second one in the Duke City and will go up in the Northeast Heights. The pizzeria will move into an old bank building here near Eubank in Spain. The company is remodeling 4,000 square feet there and plans to open in December. Godfather's has not said how many people it'll hire for the new restaurant. The other Godfather's Pizza is out on 98th Street.